Game Trailers Best of E3 2009 Awards. Best Press Conference.
Ridge Racer! Remember that one?
The E3 press conferences are often the benchmark by which each year's show is judged.
So here's this giant enemy crab.
E309 brought out the best in just about every publisher, with mammoth announcements in each. To win the crown as Best Press Conference, you have to surprise, astound, and dictate.
I better get off stage before I get embarrassed anymore.
And the nominees are Electronic Arts.
Following in the wake of last year's presser, EA showed a ton of games and kept the corporate jargon to a minimum. There was perhaps a little too much of a focus on the casual market, considering the audience.
But it wasn't just my daughter and her friends playing our games. There were more than 2 million girls.
But for every EA Sports active, there was a Dante's Inferno to balance the ledger. We can't think of a more convincing demo of Grand Slam tennis than Pete Sampras beating the game's developer.
Microsoft.
Many assumed Microsoft would show its camera technology at its press conference, and the software giant didn't disappoint. Project Natal has been stirring up the beehive since it debuted with some amazing demos, but the real story here is the software. Microsoft showed over an hour of content that will be exclusive to its console, and then rolled out Hideo Kojima to announce Metal Gear for the 360.
But Dom, I didn't say anything about Solid Snake.
Splinter Cell looked great, Alan Wake finally stepped out of the shadows, and it was all paced incredibly well. Microsoft undoubtedly delivered.
Nintendo.
After last year's Wii Music debacle, things could only get better for Nintendo. Right?
When you insert your finger, the Wii Vitality sensor first recognizes your pulse.
Well, they did, as a nice balance was struck between mega sellers like Wii Sports Resort and Wii Fit 2, and games for the core audience like Super Mario Galaxy 2 and New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii. The kicker was the announcement of Team Ninja's work on Metroid Other M, the Ninja Gaiden developers working on Metroid. Who'd have thought?
Any objections, lady?
Thank you very much.
Sony.
With the PlayStation 3 facing falling sales, Sony had to come out with its guns blazing. What followed was over 2 hours of amazement. Its motion sensing technology and camera combo looked to be the most promising of the bunch, but the games were really the highlight. And Sony had plenty. Uncharted 2 showed well, Metal Gear and Gran Turismo appeared for the PSP, and the crowd went on an emotional roller coaster as Final Fantasy XIV was announced as an exclusive MMO.
And thank you all for your time today.
Ubisoft.
The first trailer of Assassin's Creed 2 was more than enough to earn Ubisoft a nomination as Best Press Conference. It didn't disappoint, and neither did Splinter Cell Conviction. There was a bit too much time spent on the next Hamsters game.
You're going to raise this talented bunch as babies in our new Pets Nursery game.
And with all due respect, someone needed a gong or a long hook to get James Cameron off the stage, but there was plenty of proof in Ubi's pudding.
Players will feel like the stars themselves. You know, drunk, chasing their assistants in an SUV in a parking lot.
And the winner is Sony.
So there's one that didn't leak out, huh?
Microsoft's presser was no slouch and comes in a close second.
Well, bam! There it is.
But we give the nod to Sony because the more we think back, the more we realize how loaded it was. In addition to what we mentioned earlier, the PSP Go was unveiled with its 16GB drive and slide design, the sequel to Shadow of the Colossus was finally shown, Rockstar North's next big thing was announced as an exclusive, and the house was brought down by God of War 3. It had everything but a price drop. Shock, awe, and gamesmanship rolled into one, making it the best press conference of E3 09.
There we go.